Chapter 9. Robin Hood, Butcher. The sheriff's men whispered around the town that the sheriff had himself declared he would take Robin Hood single-handed. The news spread from mouth to mouth, and it was not long before it reached the ears of Robin Hood, who was still at Gamwell Hall. "I'll keep the sheriff to his word," said Robin to Marian, as they sat beneath the branches of a tall oak tree. "If he wants to see me, I shall make certain that he does." Marian was concerned about Robin's intentions, for she loved him. "Please do nothing rash," she begged. "There is no need for you to go out and look for trouble." Robin laughed merrily. "I cannot let such an invitation pass," he said. The same day he made preparations to leave Gamwell Hall. "I shall be back soon. Little John will look after you." With a gay wave of his hand, he was off. "He must come back," sighed Maid Marian, watching him striding away across the greenwood. Robin was always so brave and reckless. Once again on his own, Robin strolled along the dusty road. Before long he met a butcher from the village, who was hurrying to the market in Nottingham to sell his meat. An imp of mischief came into Robin's mind when he saw the butcher. He hailed the man. "You have a fine load of meat on your cart, friend," he said. "Where are you going?" "To Nottingham," replied the man. "It is a journey I would rather not take, but I must sell my meat to live." "Then sell it to me," suggested Robin. "I'll buy the lot. In fact, I'll buy your horse and cart as well." "How much will you give?" queried the butcher cautiously. "Whatever you want," said Robin. The outlaw paid him a good price for his entire stock, and he paid extra for the man's old clothes. He put on the clothes and gave the butcher his own. "Mind people don't mistake you for one of Robin Hood's band," laughed the outlaw, but the man could see nothing except the great bag of money in his hand. Robin made him a rich man. The disguised outlaw drove the cart on towards Nottingham. It was a long journey, but Robin was light-hearted and was looking forward to his visit. At last he reached the market-place in the city. There were many butchers already selling their meat. Robin watched them for a few moments to see how they offered their wares. He set up his stand and called out to the townsfolk. "Buy, buy, buy," he shouted. "Big bits of beef, lovely loins of lamb, a penny a pig." If Robin had no idea of prices, he had plenty of talk to help him out. With a large, dangerous-looking knife, he hacked his way through the meat and dug out great chunks. He offered them to his customers on the end of his knife, at a penny a time. The crowd flocked about him, eager to buy his meat at the price. They were very friendly to this new butcher. Not so to the other tradesmen. This stranger was ruining their trade. They were furious. "He must be silly in the head," stormed one of the butchers. "No normal man could get a living from such prices." "He's mad all right," agreed another. "But that doesn't stop him from spoiling our trade." They were glad when the sheriff of Nottingham happened to ride into the market. That official had seen the great crowd gathered round the new butcher's stall, and he strode forward to find out what all the noise was about. He soon learned that this butcher was all but giving his meat away. The sheriff walked over to the man. who was now hacking again at another carcass of meat. "Who are you?" demanded the sheriff, as the crowd made way for him to pass. "I'm just a poor farmer, sir," replied Robin, pretending to be as stupid as the townspeople thought him to be. "I have lands a long way from here, but my cattle bring me in little money. I thought I would sell my meat cheap to make a little extra profit." The sheriff laughed to himself. What a stupid man that butcher must be to think that by selling the meat cheap he would be making more profit. "Tell me, my man," commanded the sheriff, "how many head of cattle have you?" "Oh, I don't know," said Robin. "I've never counted them, but there are lots of them. Well over 100, I should say." Perhaps this lunatic would let the sheriff have his cattle at a ridiculous price. It was worth trying, anyway. "Why not sell me your beasts?" suggested the sheriff. "You will make a great profit then." Robin's eyes twinkled. "You are a generous man, sire," he said in mock gratitude. "You may come with me to see my beasts whenever you wish." The sheriff invited Robin to eat with him at his castle, where the deal could be settled. The outlaw was laughing to himself as he went away with his foe. "I haven't had a meal like that for a long time," said he, after the two had dined. This was true, for the sheriff, in his meanness, had set before Robin a very meagre meal. "And now to business," urged the sheriff. The high price that Robin asked for his beasts was soon knocked down by the sheriff, but the outlaw didn't worry what price was finally decided upon. The final figure of £300 for the entire herd seemed satisfactory to both men. The next morning the two of them set off, Sheriff on horseback and Robin in his butcher's cart. As they came near to Sherwood Forest, the simple butcher began to talk about Robin Hood. The sheriff was by no means a brave man, and he was a trifle nervous at the thought of meeting Robin Hood, but he did not want the butcher to notice this. "It would give me great pleasure to meet this Robin Hood," he said boastfully, "but the scoundrel always keeps well out of my way." "Perhaps he has heard that you are going to tackle him single-handed," suggested the butcher. "When I do," said the sheriff, "I'll make him sorry he ever crossed my path." Passing into the forest, they came upon a herd of deer. "There," said the butcher, "that is the herd of beasts I spoke about." The sheriff stopped his horse. "But these are the king's deer," he cried angrily. "Let me explain," laughed the butcher. He snatched his horn from under his butcher's apron and blew 3 loud blasts upon it. From out of the greenwood came running his merry men. "You have been so eager to meet Robin Hood in person," said the outlaw, "that I couldn't bear you to be disappointed. Here I am at your service." He gave a low bow. The sheriff was frightened and pretended to laugh off the situation. "I'm pleased to meet you," he said, "and now that you have had your little joke, perhaps you will allow me to return to my castle." "No, no," replied Robin merrily. "I am hungry, and I am certain that you could eat as much as I. It would not be good manners to let you go without giving you some food, especially as the meal is so close at hand." Robin told 4 men to blindfold the sheriff. The unhappy man did not struggle. He knew he was completely in Robin's hands. Then he was led some distance into the forest to where the rest of the outlaws was preparing a meal. The bandage was taken from the sheriff's eyes. "Let us make a very special feast," said the outlaw leader to those who were preparing the meal. "We have such an important guest with us. We must honour him." In a short while a fine feast was ready. The sheriff was hungry after his morning ride in the cool air, and he ate heartily. He quite ignored the fact that he was eating the king's deer. Robin could not help laughing. "We shall not tell the king that you are eating his deer," said he. "That is, of course, so long as you don't tell him yourself." There was little that the sheriff could say to this. He remained silent. His only wish was to get away from Robin Hood and from the forest. Robin guessed his thoughts. "Before we part," said the outlaw, "we have a little business to attend. Perhaps you would like to pay me now for the beasts, as we arranged last night." "But you tricked me," shouted the sheriff. "We were talking of cattle." "Not at all," smiled Robin. "At no time did I mention cattle. If you recall our talks, you'll remember that I referred to them always as beasts, and beasts they are." Robin ordered his men to search the sheriff. They soon found the bags containing the 300 pounds of gold. These Robin Hood took. The sheriff's eyes were bandaged again, and he was led to the outskirts of the forest once more. Here he was set free. He returned to Nottingham a sad and angry man. "I'll catch Robin Hood if it is the last thing I do," he vowed as he entered his castle. End of chapter 9.